So The Boys is finally over. I have kind of let it sit, you know. This video isn't going to be as structured. I'm kind of just talking, and whatever comes out makes sense. If it doesn't, whatever. It's weird because I thought the finale was going to be horrible, but it wasn't. In fact, it was actually decent. It was the best they could have done with how this season ended up. You understand? Is it a good finale when you compare it to the rest of the seasons of The Boys, like season 1, season 2, season 3? No. But if you compare it to the rest of season 5, it's not a bad finale. I remember I said in my last video, I did say if they do a decent finale, I'm gonna come out and say that I was wrong. But I'm not gonna do that because it wasn't good. You know what I mean? It was decent. It wasn't bad though. And that's the thing. There's a few things I do want to speak about. The Deep. We'll start off with The Deep because The Deep was a point that I made, and I think that took up a decent amount of the last video that I did on this. The Deep finally died. I said that if The Deep dies, it's going to be a waste of time, and it's like, why did his character even exist? I actually don't mind it. In fact, I actually think his death was pretty well done. I like to see where he comes in talking to, who was it, Old Father and Homelander, and they're just clearly fed up with him. I like that. It's about time everyone else sees The Deep how I see The Deep. Just annoying as hell and needs to just, you know what I mean? Like, just stay away from everybody. I'm tired of you. Leave us alone. That scene is great. And then Homelander even saying, I didn't kill you because I want you to know I don't mess with you at all. I hate you. I like that. I thought that was kind of cool too. And then the fight with Starlight when, you know, they break into the White House, it kind of just has a lot of the issues within the show already. I think that at the end of the day, how is Starlight even able to, you know, overpower the Deep if she can't overpower Old Father? Is Old Father stronger than the Deep? Is Dog not stronger than the Deep? That seems like a stretch. Regardless of who is stronger than who, I actually think that their fight was decent, you know. It wasn't like too flashy. Starlight clearly tried to give him a chance to, you know, change as a person. He didn't take it because at the end of the day, the Deep sucks. So like, obviously. And then she blasted him into the sea. Some people are complaining about like, oh, how did she know? How did she know that taking him to the beach was like a thing? I don't think that was because I think she just wanted to take him as far as possible to give him a chance to redeem himself. And obviously the dumbass didn't take it because again, he's a dumbass and he sucks. And then he dies. I'm pretty sure the octopus up his behind or whatever. And yeah, that's cool. I like that. I actually think that's a good death for him. I was so tired of him. Thank God he's dead. I don't ever want to see nothing from him again. If there's a prequel, I don't want to see him. I hate him. I hate the Deep so much. I think he's funny at the start, but he became so annoying and he grew this like cult fan base, which I think started off as jokes, but I think people actually genuinely like him. Yeah, I don't like him. I'm happy how they did. I thought that was pretty cool, to be honest. I thought that was good how they killed him. I think that was probably one of the better decisions that they did that episode. So another thing I want to speak about is Sister Sage. I already said Sister Sage was bad after last episode. I think they ruined her. I think they completely they violated her, flipping her whole thing. Sage is not a morally gray character. Sage is a actual evil person. She is directly involved in the deaths of countless people. Like, Sage should not be getting a happy ending. She shouldn't be allowed to just rock off, be dumb because she lost her powers, and then, ooh, I'm going to, was it Harry Potter world or something? That shouldn't be a thing. I think that sucks. A fitting ending would be her losing her powers, not being able to maybe get out of a situation that she'd already be able to get into. I mean, get out of due to her powers. I don't know. I don't know what they did, why they did that. I don't know why she got a good ending or like a somewhat good ending because she's happy to be dumb, you know? She's happy to be an idiot. I can go Harry Potter and do whatever. She deserved to die too, I ain't gonna lie. Or at least not die, but like some sort of punishment for the shit that she did. And her losing her powers can directly transition into Kimiko, because her powers is basically the star of the entire show, or the entire episode. Kimiko getting the Soldier Boy power feels very last minute, and it feels very rushed. If I was to take a guess, I don't think that's what they originally intended. I think Amazon or Prime or whatever may have forced them to tie into Vault Rising because Vault Rising is coming. So they had to use Soldier Boy in some way. So they use Soldier Boy's powers. Soldier Boy, by the way, is locked up forever. I just deep that now. That's horrible. Soldier Boy is a character this season is they took the piss. I think they just violated. I don't know why he existed. He was terrible. And yeah, for him to be locked up and shelved or fridged or whatever, it's kind of like indicative of how useless he's been throughout the season and just how pointless of an inclusion he was. That they can just put him away and move on. But yeah, back to Kimiko. I don't like the power, to be honest. I think it feels a bit like a cop-out. I know it was introduced in season 3, so it's not really a cop-out, but it just doesn't feel as thought out as the virus, for example. You know what I mean? Or as the Flight 37 video, or all these sort of things that were built up better. They just randomly discovered, oh, let's put him in the same nuclear thing that Soldier Boy went through and she was able to hack it. Like, that's once she had that power, I knew she was gonna obviously depower Homelander. Frenchie appearing as a Force ghost on some use your love. sort of thing. I guess, like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's a bit funny because it's like, it's a bit cop-outy, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, this is still the real world. This ain't Dragon Ball, where Goku's gonna pull up on Gohan and be like, unleash your power or whatever and start throwing shit. Like, Goku pulling up on Gohan makes sense because it's anime. I know the voice is still superheroes, but it's grounded in some sort of realism. Frenchie appearing as a ghost, or obviously not actually as a ghost, but her figment of like her imagination and her love for Frenchie makes her come down and be like, oh, I can't do this. Your thing is love. It's a bit of a cop out. It would have been way better if someone like maybe Starlight or Hughie said that to her. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's real. Or if it was in the letter or something. That letter was buns. I'm not gonna lie. I get it's Frenchie, but it's an emotional moment. I feel like emotional moments, let's try and keep them somewhat emotional. You're out here making jokes about buttholes or whatever, like the entire time. It kind of takes you out of it. Here's what it is. It wasn't horrible, to be fair. There's been worse. So I don't want to sit down. That's like the worst thing they've ever done. I mean, Kimiko's ending is decent, you know. She loved Frenchie, see Frenchie's dead. She uses that love to power up her Soldier Boy blast instead of using rage. It's a cool contrast, but it's just not really built up at all. So it just feels a little bit like that. Like you kind of just put that out on the end because you knew if we don't figure this out, we're cooked, sort of thing. And that kind of sucks a little bit. I don't really want to make this a long video where I discuss the entirety of the episode because I don't think anybody really wants to see that. Or I don't want to do it, to be honest. I just don't want to do it. So I guess we'll talk about the two main things that I want to bring up right now so it doesn't go on for too much longer. And again, this is not written, so it's me ranting. So I don't actually know how long this is. But let's get to Homelander. Homelander, I said last episode, is the reason why the boys writing, or the boys in general, started to take a bit of a downturn. I still think that is the case, unfortunately. I think that Homelander's performance was quality, though. By Homelander, I mean Anthony Starr. Anthony Starr was quality, you know. And I think that his speech that he gave on the TV would have been amazing if it was given like 2 or maybe even last episode, but 2 episodes earlier. That would have been great because it sets up, oh shit, what's gonna happen now, sort of thing. We don't get that with this. In fact, we kind of get nothing because they just fight in the office, the White House office. I'm not American, so do you have like a specific name for that? But they fight in the office of the White House. So that entire sequence for me, like, look, it's cool to see them fight. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to see Ryan pull up. It's cool to see Butcher and Homelander get their fight. Again, in my last video, I did say there's no point in making them fight. I still kind of stand by that because it wasn't the fight that we wanted. Butcher walks in saying scorched earth. Where? You know what I'm saying? Where is that at all? I don't understand why that's written, why that's set up, why that's built up to be this big finale, scorched earth, blood and bone, one man left standing. Even the advertisements, I know I don't care too much about the advertisements, but it does suggest scorched earth. And we didn't get anything of the sort of scorched earth. In fact, we kind of got, there's been a lot of people laughing and saying scorched room. You know what I'm saying? Barely scorched room. Like, yeah, they're not wrong. That is really what we got. We got a barely scorched room. And I think that a lot of that stems on the fact that Homelander did nothing at all. Homelander got V1 and really didn't change. I didn't expect him to get like a power boost. But the way they crafted V1 within the narrative, it did seem like once Homelander gets V1, we are cooked. Once he gets V1, the first thing Butcher tells his crew, run. He stabs the V1 into him. Homelander shoots lasers into the sky, almost like he's powering up. And I'm not saying I need a power up, but I need to see him move maybe more recklessly. Maybe knowing I'm invincible, I don't give a damn how it is because they can't kill me. I don't know why we didn't get none of that. The speech he gives on about the non-believers, the heretics, will be killed. Can you imagine if that happened in episode 7? Episode 8 starts with him and maybe the Supes that he recalled back from across the world who magically disappeared. Where did they go, by the way? I don't know. Could you imagine they did that? And then they're in the first starting episode of episode 8, they're killing the people that don't believe, the non-believers. That's stakes. You know what I'm saying? That's something. That's kind of scorched earth a little bit. Not, oh, we will kill you, and then he's dead before that can even occur. I don't really know how I feel about that. I think that's kind of, I don't know, I just don't like that. And I think, again, my issue with Homelander is that they don't know how to make him crazy. There's this sort of idea where they kept saying throughout the marketing, the worst thing Homelander does is in this season. It's not. What has Homelander done in this season that's worse than anything? Is it because he beat up Ryan? No. I mean, like, that's not impressive. I don't get it. I don't see why that was said by, I believe, might have been Anthony Starr. It might have been Kripke as well, but again, I'm not going to fact check this because I'm not writing it. But I don't like that. I think that fight, as fun as it was to see Homelander fight Butcher and Ryan and then Kimiko, I generally think that was really bad. Like, in terms of scale and stakes and whatever. Now, funnily enough, Homelander losing his powers gave me one of my favorite moments within the show, where he's trying to use his powers and he can't do it, and then he's trying to fly and it's not working. He tries to laser Butcher, it doesn't work, and then Homelander, realizing he's about to die, starts begging for his life. These are the moments that I live for. I am so happy that he did this shit. I hate Homelander as well. I mean, I like him as a character, but I hate him as a person, if you get what I'm trying to say. Seeing him beg for his life in front of everybody, everyone's like, oh. Everyone's getting the ick and they're like, oh hell nah. This ain't my God. They also leaving the room. Quality. I love that. There's been some shit where it's like, oh, I don't know. I'm kind of seeing on the internet at least a bit of complaints around that. Like, some people didn't like it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was great. I had no issue with it. In fact, I thought it was amazing, and I'm very happy they did that. That is my favorite scene from season 5. I think is Homelander begging, and he's ultimately killed by the crowbar in front of everybody. That shit's fire. I'm not gonna lie. I do like that. I do like how they killed him. I think Homelander's end was decent. Let's ignore the stakes, right? Let's ignore the fact that they didn't do any sort of scorched earth thing. The stakes felt very low. On a standalone way for Homelander to losing his powers, begging and then dying is like the perfect way to end off a character like him. He needed that. If he didn't die like that, I don't know how else they could have done it that is so vastly different yet be compelling. So I'm very happy they did it like that, to be honest. I thought it was really good. But the reason I say that Homelander is still the issue is just because, yeah, there was no stakes, because they've kind of exhausted all like the tropes or the mental health sort of thing they do with Homelander. We've seen it all, so it's not as scary. And I thought that we'd see some difference with V1, but we didn't. And then again, as you see with Vought get away with it. Stan Edgar's back in power. They have like a management sort of thing where they're being watched by the government. I mean, like, that doesn't really change anything. I'm pretty sure they had that in season 1, right? So what's the real difference? As we can see, Vought is still in power. And that's why I think Vought being the main villains should have been a way so that we see them being shut down at the end. Because now it's like, we didn't really change much. We just killed Homelander, and another Homelander will probably pull up. So it's like, And that brings me to the final part, which is Butcher about to release the virus. So obviously Butcher and Ryan go home with no powers. Butcher tells Ryan, yo, let's be a family. Ryan says no. At the end of the day, Homelander is just worse. Butcher is not better. You know what I'm trying to say? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Homelander is bad, but Butcher is also bad. I think that's what Ryan said, something like that anyway. So yeah, so Butcher obviously sees that and he's like, oh, well, okay, well, I'm glad he's like, oh, my dog. Dog's dead. I said last time they were going to use terror to push Butcher over the edge, which they did. I think it's better than it just being a soup killing him. I thought someone's going to kill him. They did it in a way where he ends up dying, probably from the chocolate that he ate, not going to lie. Like, he swallowed the whole damn cake. So he's probably cooked. I like that because it's just it's symbolic of his entire ecosystem gone. You know what I'm saying? Ryan doesn't mess with him. His plans for the future is Ryan, so they're gone. His present sort of ambition, which was killing Homelander, is done. And then Terror, who's been with him throughout everything, is also gone. At that point, he has no purpose. His purpose was always just killing Homelander. He's done that. Now it's not what. So he thinks, fuck it, bro, let's keep going. Let's push it to the point where let me kill all the soups, which like makes sense. I don't mind that. I actually think that's a pretty decent plot point. And I think the way they handled it was pretty cool. I think though, it could have been a bit more believable. If Ryan was so important to Butcher, he could have been featured throughout the season a little bit more. Ryan pulls up, gets his ass beat, and then doesn't really show up again. So like, if Butcher really cared about him, would he not ask where's Ryan? Some sort of thing where they have conversation. I don't know, something to just make it a bit more believable that Butcher and Ryan is so close with each other, or Butcher is so close to Ryan where he feels as if I don't have a Ryan, I got nobody, rather than it just be, oh well, he has no purpose now. Like, that's like, I'm kind of nitpicking, to be honest, because I think I just wanted more out of this season, but I feel like that would have been kind of cool. I don't mind it that much. So obviously he takes the virus and then he goes to Vought Tower and he puts it in this sprinkler system and he's gonna rain down on all of them and let the virus spread. Blah, blah, blah. Hughie obviously follows him. Hughie talks to him. Hughie tells him no, and Hughie kills him. I thought that was really good. I like that scene a lot. There's really not too much to say. It was emotional. They didn't take the piss like with the Frenchie funeral where they're making shit jokes or whatever. This actually felt pretty serious, and I think The Boys is always really good at doing serious scenes. That's one of my favorite scenes of The Boys in general. I really do like that scene, and I think they did it really well. So obviously in the finale, we get the end of Homelander, we get the end of Butcher, and we get, some sort of idea that there's hope for the future with Hughie and Starlight being pregnant and them running almost like an Invincible Inc. sort of thing where they call them and then they go and Starlight goes and departs to help whoever. I don't mind that. I think that's pretty cool, actually. I think it's weird. Okay, yeah, let me get into this point. I think it's weird that he called his child Robin. That is weird. I'm not gonna lie. If whoever I'm with decides to name their child after their dead ex, I'm not gonna lie, I'm tweaking. Like, it makes sense narratively. Robin is the reason that Hughie is in this situation. I just think it's weird. Look, at the end of the day, I think the problem with this season is that they just strayed along too much. They fumbled around, they played around, they wanted to set up, oh look, Vought Rising is coming, make sure you're interested in Soldier Boy and Stormfront, that we kind of wasted a lot of time. Even in the finale, where I think this is probably the best they could have done with the like dross that they had to write up and like work around, we still have a lot of stuff that just isn't spoken about. So Vought just continues. What happened with MM? Like, is MM cool with his family again? He is, but it's like, how is he cool with his family? What happened? You know what I'm trying to say? How did that even occur? It's just, oh look, he likes his family again. I don't know, I just feel like it's too rushed. A lot of these things could have had scenes. We could have had a scene of MM talking to his daughter and his ex-wife, I believe, to explain why he's changing and he's supposed to stick with them. Especially since she would probably know, oh, you hanging with Butcher, you probably killed Homelander on live TV. That's darker. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think they could have done something with it. I think we could have got a lot of different things where characters have their moments and we see what happens. I don't like them just being a time skip. I never really liked time skips in TV shows in general, so it's not a boys issue. But if the boys didn't piss around, I think we could have got an explanation for a lot of stuff and some scenes that show that happening. But yeah, that's the finale of The Boys. For what we got throughout the season, I think they actually did a pretty decent job. One thing I did want to bring up, I was about to end, but I just remembered, Gen V characters it's an absolute piss take, an absolute disaster and a joke what they did to my characters there. They did nothing, like literally nothing. Have Marie in the room with you then. Just let her pull up and shoot some laser blood at home, something, dog. For her to really exist, built up in this Homelander threat, you introduce her in this season, the start of season 4, y'all tell them, y'all some revolutionaries now, let's work, let's act like it, and they don't do anything. It's insane how they decided to write the Gen V characters. Is the director, writer, like different? Did they have different views? Did they not want her to be as strong as Homelander? Was that like, I don't know. I just don't understand why you build that up and then they do nothing. Even if she just fought and lost, then I wouldn't mind. If she holds someone back, I wouldn't mind. To introduce Marie and paint her as this character that's like relative to the strongest soups in the whole show, and she literally does nothing? Why is she here then? Marie being here literally changed nothing of the plot. If you take her out, the plot continues the exact same. Just replace her finding information with someone else finding information. Like Butcher randomly pushed out of his ass anyway. That is crazy that they did that. I can't believe how they wrote that. And they just leave. I hate how they did the Gen V characters. I'm not gonna lie. That's my biggest gripe with this episode. That section sucks. But anyway, that's my take on the finale. In terms of this channel, because this is a pretty new channel, it started off with talking about The Boys. I am intending to just kind of speak about things I find interesting, whether that's music, whether that's TV shows, media, film, games. So like, if there's kind of anything interesting or in particular that you guys or anyone would like me to talk about that maybe I haven't seen, recommendations of TV shows or movies to watch and like maybe make a review, I'll be happy to do that. In other words, I'll be talking about music. I think my next video is gonna be about Drake and his new album. I just want to speak about that a little bit. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope everyone enjoyed The Boys. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a disaster, it's not Game of Thrones level. Now, mind you, I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I know it's tragic. But yeah, I don't mind that. Now, one thing I do want to do, actually, a video I do have kind of planned out, is I recently watched The Devil May Cry Netflix TV show. And I really liked it, but people don't like it at all because it's not a faithful adaptation. I am going to play the Devil May Cry games, and I'm kind of going to compare the two adaptations, right? Or the two forms of media, or the two narrative storytellings, whatever. And I'm kind of going to get my points and see how I feel about that. But yeah, If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is an early part of the channel. This is the style that I'm thinking of going within. Much more scripted, I think, though. This episode wasn't scripted. The last video that I made was somewhat scripted. I think the tone of the last video is what this channel is going to be about. So if you like that style, subscribe. Let me know what y'all want to see. If not, let me know why you don't want to see it. And yeah, that was the boys. I will see y'all in the next video.